All right, everybody, welcome in. This Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin. I'll be the one and only Big Spoon.
I'm Puddin. A little AWOL last week.
Yeah, the primary purpose of this podcast is to educate and share our thoughts and opinions. When we have proof and evidence on the topic, it will be brought forth. This podcast does not constitute advice or services to anyone. Spoon and Puddin do not accept any responsibility or liability for our guests or anyone's comments or actions based on the material we talk about on our podcast. This podcast is for private, non commercial use, and everyone should ascertain that the information we provide is correct and verified at all times. There shall be no adding to, editing, or reproduction of this podcast without prior written permission from Spoon and Puddin. You can reach us at Real Talk with Spoon and Puddin at Gmail. What's going on this morning, Puddin?
Your spoon. You're right.
Yeah.
You're not. It's just another day. Oh. You shouldn't probably be here, honestly. But
I'm not all here right now, but I made a commitment that we was going to do this every week, so I'm going to do it even if it's short and sweet.
or I'm absent. Oh, given real short time constraints as of last week.
Yeah, there may become a time you'll have to do it without me, but
Could have been this week. But, so anyway, what did you want? Other than what we was talking about just a minute ago, Greenwood, Indiana. That's a pretty good one.
I think we should jump right into that.
So you got Uvalde in 77 minutes and tons of cops with tons of guns. And then you got Indiana, 22-year-old. I need to start. I need to set up out here in my yard a 40. I need to set up like a 40-yard and then put a target and see how many I can make in 10 seconds and 10 shots and see how many I can get on target.
What everybody wants to talk about the gun problem, and you had a 22-year-old in the mall in Indiana who, in less than a minute,
it was less than a minute. Yeah,
took down the gunman and limited the loss of life. And then you reverse a few months to Uvalde, Texas, where you had
a bunch of cops and
15, 20 officers.
I think there was 19 in the hallway on camera that was geared up with shields and vests. And
so let's say roughly 20 stood outside for 77 minutes without going in. I see you, Cupbear.
Yep.
Without going in, harassing parents, handcuffing them, detaining them, keeping them from going in. And it took an off-duty patrol agent to borrow the shotgun from his barber.
Well, off-duty border patrol TAC. He was a tactical officer.
Okay. All right. So he had authorization to go in, thank goodness.
No. Technically, he didn't. He was just known. He was off-duty.
Yeah, but I would think that border patrol TAC has more authority than that local PD officer when it comes to that.
I think he just slipped through. Nobody stopped him. I'm sure all the other cops over there, with the stains in their trousers, was like, "We'll let him do it." Look, he's going. Let him go. Let's stay back here where we're safe.
So you had 20 trained officers that say they're trained to protect you.
Oh, I haven't seen the video. I know that came out, but there was more video. Like they actually released the footage, and one of the cops that was stacked up, acting scared in the hallway, had a Punisher skull for his phone screensaver or something. It's like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're a real Punisher, ain't you? So it's time to go. It's time to use your gun and actually be, legitimately justified.
So tell me again, were the guns the problem when you have a 22-year-old who?
The guns have never been the problem. See, even in history, what the Wild West was portrayed by Hollywood as being wild, even though it really isn't. It was generally peaceful because everyone had a gun on their hip.
Which is just like the bank robbers. Uh, if you go back and look at history, that they tended not to go to the towns,
Had a lot of armed people running around.
right? Because they knew they would have
They get
competition.
shot. Yeah, they get shot.
So they would try to pick and choose the towns that wasn't well armed, or they had to, there's certain towns back then they had to turn their weapons over,
Yeah, they weren't allowed to bring their weapons into town.
right? So those are the ones they try to hit up.
Soft target. Same like the mall. The mall had that, no gun sign, But that's typical of a lot of places that, they'll put that sign, they stick that sign up all over the place.
Whether it's a law or not, they still stick that sign up trying to tell you can't have it.
Well,
Which,
it doesn't stop the man who's, hell bent killing a bunch of people.
but we all know it's unconstitutional no matter where it's at.
I think it should be. I think, you know, under the text, history, and tradition of the U.S. government and Constitution, I think that, if you're a business and you're in this country and you want to hang that sign up and that's your justification that, hey, somebody shouldn't be in here. The way I look at it, you should just get your business to a country that just doesn't have a Second Amendment. That's the kind of way I look at it. Go on over to Europe or somewhere. Canada, I hear they're trying to get rid of it. So scoot your ass on off to Canada.
Well, a lot of people don't even understand what the Constitution is. They've never read it.
They don't
Uh,
know. Well, they don't understand the justification for it.
the
But
Constitution
then
is
you
for the
see,
people,
well, then
right?
you see Ukraine. You see Ukraine, and you're like, oh my God, look at how good Ukraine's doing because, well, that's right. They're handing all their citizens guns and saying, hey, if you see a Russian, shoot his ass. Pretty much what they're doing. They're doing the Second Amendment there.
Well, the same people here that are trying to take your rights away from having a gun and telling you shouldn't have a gun are sending guns and money to Ukraine
Yeah.
to buy more guns to hand to their citizens to fight.
Oh, yeah.
But the Constitution was written for the people to control and overthrow the government if need be. It wasn't written for the government.
You know, I mean, there's been a lot that's been going on with Congress this week. I mean, you have the guy calling a pistol stabilizing brace a bump stock. You have a congressman who says that. These are the people that make laws. And I don't know, is it Congressman Massey or whatever? Is he Kentucky? I haven't looked him up.
No, well,
Congressman, not senator.
he may be.
Well, Massey said something was tearing him up and ripping him a new one about um, the internet's about to educate you on what that is. And for the people who, if you don't know, or like I said, the stabilizing brace is it's a pistol stabilizer. It goes on the buffer. All ARs that function in the direct impingement method utilize a buffer tube and a spring and a buffer that rides in there to push the bolt back forward. The pistols in back 10 years ago before the braces and everything, the pistols used to just be a flat blank tube, nothing on them. And then they come up with the idea we could hang a stabilizer on here so that you could wrap it around your wrist and one hand the gun a lot with more stability. And it was mainly done for a Vietnam or a Iraqi veteran who lost an arm but still wanted to shoot pistol competitions. You know, so that was what it was initially done for, and then it turned into a. The truth is, it is a workaround to the NFA. The NFA says that you're not allowed to have short barreled rifles. So if you classify it as a pistol, hang a stabilizing brace on it, you can still shoulder it like it's a rifle. You know, so is it a workaround? Sure, it is. But for people who've lost an arm, yeah, it genuinely is a handicapped person's device. And the ATF's their new law that's supposed to be coming, I think, in August. Uh, you're going to get extra points against you if you have it, and it's adjustable. Now, I'm 6'3". Michelle's what 4'11". Our arms,
Four
literally
three.
4'11". Well, I mean, but look, okay, from my elbow to my fingertip is probably as almost as long as her whole arm. You know, my hand can almost fit on her forearm. So to wear a stabilizing brace properly, you would put it, just somewhere around mid arm. Trust me, my mid arm and her mid arm are not in the same place.
No.
The adjustability is a feature that's allowable for people with different size arms. But the ATF wants to discredit that and say that that is, oh, that shows it's for shouldering. Well, she has was it Leary wheel dyschondropia? She's got a bone disorder, and so legitimately, technically handicapped. Huh? Lori Wells dyschondropia is her bone condition. So she legitimately has a handicapped bone condition.
Are you serious? I thought she just suffered from dumbassery disease.
From what?
Dumbassery disease?
Dumb. He said he thought you just suffered from dumbassery disease. She said, "Ha ha ha ha." But my point is, she genuinely has a disability that she was born with. Genuinely has, and like I said, we both go out here and shoot sometimes. So the ATF wants to give a worse score to somebody with a handicap who could need adjustable braces if we were outside doing our competition or playing a competition shoot
I,
with
and
our
I've and
AR
I've
pistols.
and I've seen people use some of those braces to shoot with.
Yeah, no, I got a picture of it here. Hold on. I think. Wait a minute. Oh darn, where'd it go? Oh shoot. The internet is going to make that man famous for what he said. Oh, there it is. There's the picture. Okay. See the yellow thing on the back of it?
Yeah.
Okay, at the top picture? That's what it wraps around your arm. But this congressman, and see, that's Massey. It's like the internet is about to educate you. Congressman Massey's like, because he's calling it a bump stock, and it's not. It's a stabilizing brace. It's what it is. And poor Massey, you think, my goodness, he's sitting out there. And then this guy, I don't know if anybody knows who he is. As soon as I seen his face on this tweet, I laughed. It says, "Who needs a 15 projectile clip to defend their home?" And it said Representative Hank Johnson. I said, wait a minute, he looks familiar. He looks real familiar. So here was his years back. I'm not sure if you remember that one, Charlie.
I can't read it.
It says, "My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize."
Oh yeah.
You remember the Guam guy? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
same guy. These are the people that sit up there in Congress and supposedly make laws that you're supposed to follow. So they make laws you're supposed to follow. They think islands capsize. Stabilizing braces are automatic weapons. Why does anybody listen to anything any of these people say anymore?
Me and my cousin have the conversation earlier. The American people are freaking stupid. They're so brainwashed. They can't think for themselves. Um, that's why when me and you talk about like another revolution, I think that's the only thing that's going to save us because they're going to continue to vote red or blue. Uh, they're going to continue to follow what the media tells them. There's no going back from it.
It's not even about a revolution. It's more about, at some point, something needs to be done or said to these people that says, you know,
Well, they don't. Here's the problem: is they've got away with so much for so long that they stand there and they lie to us. They know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying, and
sometimes,
they and
hey, like, look, if you think an island will capsize, you're genuinely stupid. That's, that's, and that's incurable. But the fact is, this guy's still in Congress. And you know that since he said that, there have been people who have voted, and they haven't kicked him out.
The high population of our politicians and all that they are stupid. They have
Well,
degrees.
they're pulled from the same pool of talent that the rest of us live in, and we look at every day. They're not something. They're nothing special. They come right out of the same. You know, look at you. You all right?
What? Yeah,
I know you work. Did you work all night? Even though
yeah.
you didn't. Okay. What? I don't know. But no, the politicians. I don't. Like I said, just like us dealing here with Portland. You know, what was that PBA Bank of Clarksville?
Yeah.
Yeah, 610. I've requested the current budget. We'll see if that 6 million's in it.
I bet it probably ain't in there. If it is, it's under a different line item. I guarantee it.
6 million.
I sent it to you. Is there any way you can put it up in the comments?
I don't know. I mean, I can show it on screen if you want me to try that. But I mean,
Any of y'all interested in the city of Portland, where we do a whole lot of records requests and research? We got the setup contract here for the $6 million they just borrowed that we'll be paying back for the next 20 years.
there's a. If you wanted to try to pause it, maybe you can see it. But
I'm gonna try to share it in the comments, maybe.
But 2.8340% on $6 million over 20 years. What you said. There's the city of Portland, 6 million, 2.8340%. So
Yeah, the payment
loan
starts.
agreement between PBA Clarksville. So report on debt obligation pursuant to Tennessee Code annotated section 9-21-134.
We got 20 payments. Starts at 227,000 the first year, and by year 10 we're making a payment of 300,000, and our final payment in 2043 will be 387,000. That will pay off the 6 million with the interest. So, but if we went and added those numbers together, how much more than the 6 million are you paying? Here's you got. Well, if you got the calculator?
Shouldn't it say down here though?
No, it doesn't tell you breakdown. Get your calculator out, and I'll tell you real quick. We can run it out. That way, we're being fully transparent here.
All right, what's the
227, 233, 240, 247, 254, 261, 268, 276, 284, 292, 300,000, 309, 317,
317?
Yeah, 327, 336, 346.
Well, I jumped 10 that time.
355, 365, 376, and 387. What you got?
Why is it showing 6,000? Hold on a second, that's not right. It showed 6,000, so that would be. I left 3 digits off, so that would be 6 million.
6 million, yeah.
So but, not showing?
It's not even showing you the interest accrued, right? So
maturity dates, amounts, and interest rates. It's not showing the interest.
so on year one you'd be paying interest of $6 million, and all right, and if you're paying 227, then you'd be paying interest on 5,783,000, right? So
There's a third. What's the third page here?
There's 4 pages.
There's 4 pages. I only see. Oh, really? It's not on the third or fourth page.
All right, right here it says cumulative principal and percentage of total. So I guess year one there's no interest. If I'm looking at that right.
Well, if it's a 20-year and they get the $6 million paid back, the cumulative percentage of, I don't know how they're calculating this. I guess you could always use a mortgage calculator and just do it in a reversal. Let's see. Do it in a clear, say, 600,000.
600,000. Where you get 600,000?
Just do it in a 10 per. Yeah, we'll do it at a 6. We'll do it at an interest rate of 2 point. Clear that. 8.340%. Clear 20 years. See, where's the table, graph, chart? Interest is, that would be a $600,000 home with the same interest rate.
So you're how much interest was it?
The interest paid, if you just paid the normal total interest, would be there's at the bottom. That's on. So you would multiply that by 10.
All right, so 186,000 was the interest on the 6,000.
Yeah, or 600,000. So
600,000. Yeah.
So 186,000, and then the total payments would be 780. So yeah, 186 times 10. If you're just using a calculator like that,
So you're going to pay back almost an extra $2 million. So you're borrowing $6 million, paying back $8 million.
At 1.8 million, if the interest rates are similar.
Well, you got to figure in the fees too. Look on the page. Look down at the bottom. You paid 36,000 just in administration fees.
Oh, I seen that. Yeah, the Spencer, Fane, Bone, McAllister.
That's probably the.
And then Runyon, and then TMBF administration fee, legal fees, and miscellaneous expenses.
Yeah, so your legal fees and your administration costs, you paid another $36,000 just to file the paperwork to get the $6 million. Mm-hmm. So you add that 36 on the 1.86,
which is why they don't want you to see that they borrowed $6 million to go buy fire trucks and such, but they're going to pay $8 million back in 20. Well, your kids are going to pay back. You know, at least
we're
your youngest is, unless you get the hell out of this, or unless you move out of that city limit, then you ain't got to pay it back. And for all the people about the, it's Beaver, Utah. I couldn't help it. I was so excited when I said, I'm going to go through there today.
I was thinking the Oregon State Beavers because there used to be a sports store they made all the funny shirts and hats of the college teams that had the funny names like the TCU Horned Frogs and the Oregon State Beavers, and it's I love Beavers.
Yeah, but if you wanted to see the mortgage calculator, so yeah, it's 600,000, 2.834%, 20 years. So yeah, that's the numbers, 186. So you would just multiply that by 10.
So it'd be
get 1.8 867.
7.
Yeah, but you got to add a 37, so it'd be 1.9.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You right at 8 million. You're borrowing 6, paying back right at 8 million.
Bank of Clarksville is going to love that, unless hyperinflation hits. Let's just cross our fingers and hope hyperinflation.
Well, you figure they're letting them hold money for 20 years, and they're making $100,000 a year.
But see, this is the thing. This is what This is what I was talking to you about, and I told you this. The whole reason I wanted to move up here was because in 2008, when they started that quantitative easing program, that allowed banks to loan money into existence a lot more. It loosened it just let it let little banks act like they have a money printer, and then they could just print money, and it loosened a lot of the credit regulations. And that's what I'm saying. That money isn't on the books. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's in existence. It's going to get spent by the politicians, but it's technically not being recorded. So the hyperinflation, y'all better get ready. And I was getting ready in 2009 when they started that quantitative easing, because I was like, oh my, this is these people are, shyster scammers, man. They're going to screw everyone. I don't want to hold money. I think having money is a bad thing. That's a
We ain't got any more.
liability. What the hell? Where'd you? I hear you. But no, we don't. I don't know. What's going on with you? Are you going to work tonight? Oh.
No. No, I've already talked to Scott.
I wasn't.
Oh.
I got you your bumper sticker. It says, we're gonna put it on. Amy's gonna like it. It looks just like that. Will Amy like it?
Amy, come here.
Michelle doesn't want it on her. I got her a bumper sticker too.
Mama, come here. Trey got you something. He got you a bumper sticker. He wants to know if you'll put it on your car.
Or if you could put it on your car.
Show her. You put that bumper sticker in your car? No. Michelle won't put it on hers. Hey, got her to laugh, huh? Hey, what if I get one of those suction cup dildos and stick it on your hood while like you're at work? Everybody come in to eat the restaurant. And then put the sticker on top of it. I love Beaver. Say what?
I'm sorry. I can't see anything except idiocracy. Did you, when he was driving around, he had that big purple dildo plopping on his
yeah,
please. Oh gosh. Oh God, that was hilarious. Lordy. Oh boy. But no, I don't know what you're. We don't need to keep this one very long. I know you got a lot.
Well, the one thing I wanted to talk about was people need to have the hard conversations when it comes to life and mental illness. A lot of people in this country try to brush it off. It's not that big a deal. They don't want to deal with it, but it's a very, very big deal. They want, the government media wants to tell you about a pandemic.
Imagine how much damage was done by that to what you're talking about. Just what people went through over the last 2.5 or 2 years.
It's multiplied. They wanted to tell you about a pandemic of a virus. We already had a pandemic of mental illness A lot of people suffer from different types of mental illness. Depression with anxiety, bipolar. Uh, I just want people to try to open their eyes and realize that the people around them, their friends, um, a lot of people don't talk to you because they know they can't talk to you. Because most people in this country, they don't want to know about people's problems, and they don't want to have to deal with it because they don't know how to deal with it, right? And I understand that, um, but if the people that suffer from these types of issues don't have a safe place from multiple areas of their life to be able to talk to and tell people what they suffer from and to help deal with it, you know what the outcome is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
People don't want to talk. They don't want to open up. And then a lot of people, I think a big reason that you got a lot of that is a lot of people are scared of getting ripped on. But sometimes people rip on people because they don't really know how to. You know what I mean?
and I speak from this from too much experience, right?
No.
I've lost too many people in my life to the struggles of mental illness. I too suffer from depression from time to time. Most of the time, I try to stay out of the rut. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. That's why when me and Puddin talk about on this podcast about the chemicals and the fluoride and things that these cities put in your water, they're causing a lot of this. You know, these toxins that they put in the water is not good for you.
It's a neurotoxin is what it is.
The chemicals that your government and the FDA put in your food, they're not good for you.
I don't know. Because a McDouble is supposed to be able to sit in the open, not be eaten by animals, and look just like it did when it came out of the kitchen 1 year later, right? That's what it's supposed to look like.
Kevin comments says a friend at the local hospital says most patients in the ER have been coming in for mental illness issues, and I believe that wholeheartedly. He said the first week, a 988 number for mental illness help had 96,000 calls to help people with mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
So when the government tells you about a pandemic of a virus, that's not the pandemic we have in this country.
They've been pumping you full of.
They are causing the pandemic, uh, and they want to tell you about. They want to use everything they can to take away your rights. Right? They'll tell you about. Well, he should have never had access to that gun. Right?
You should have never had access to anyone who can have and who can't have access to anything. You should never mandate margarines. You should never mandate fluorides. You should never, and I, it shocks me to all end how busy McDonald's is. That place just serves poison. Look at you,
Sweet tea.
yeah. Yeah. And they put twice as much sugar in there as necessary to sweeten it.
You get half and half.
Okay, well.
No, you want sweet tea, you go to Popeyes
Well, I just,
or the barbecue pit. That's syrup tea. This is
yeah, well, I won't go argue with you. I didn't try we got the Sunnies last night. And for anybody, since I wasn't on here last week, you know, Bowling Green has the Sunnies. As a Florida boy,
Gallatin has a Whataburger.
Sunnies. Y'all people in Bowling Green, if you haven't had it yet, tell you what, you'll love it. Uh, all you can eat too if you want. It's like $20 for all you can eat ribs. Uh, I don't know if Harmon's watching or whatever. You know anybody? Yeah, it's amazing. Uh, but no,
But what I'm
I I haven't tried their sweet tea. I always get unsweet, But we're talking about teas and sugar. Michelle said it was real sweet.
but what I was getting at, I mean, if you're one of those people that suffer from this stuff,
Mm.
there's plenty of people out there that will understand, will listen, that will help you. Uh,
Even if they rip on you, don't look at it as a bad thing. I really,
well, the people that rip, all they do is cause more damage, right?
they cause more damage if you take it personal.
But you're in a state of mental delusion and depression and anxiety, you're going to take it hard. That's just how it is. Uh, so if you're a person that suffers from anything that needs help, reach out to somebody that you can trust. If you can't trust somebody,
If you want to have a real conversation, yes, you could say, "Hey, look, I understand why you're ripping on me. It's because but can we have an honest conversation?" And the scary thing is that you don't know how many people can actually have that conversation that are
it's
even educated enough to have it.
and they're not. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Is the country's not educated enough. They don't want to know about it. They don't want anybody knowing if their brother or their sister or their mother or whatever suffers from it. They want to keep it hidden. And this is not a thing that you need to keep hidden. And as bad as I rip on bad cops, if you have nobody else, there is
Come
enough
talk
good
to us.
police station. There's enough of good police. You can walk in a police station, sit down with an officer and tell him what's going on, and he will find you help. You can walk in a hospital, they will try to find you help. I'm not saying it will be the right help, but you got to start somewhere. And anybody that's watching that don't understand mental illness or depression or bipolar or any of those things that people suffer from that are dropping, it seems like flies now in the pandemic of mental illness, not of the virus. Have some
It's
compassion,
it's
have some
I
empathy,
it's a
have some
plan.
understanding.
It's a pandemic. Is what it is. It was designed to make people worse. I think. I mean, what you talked about before we come on about debt. How many people are in more debt now than they were in 2020, 2019?
I would say most everybody.
Yeah, a lot. Mm. And then you get these poisons and sugars and pumped at you all the time, and then they told everyone that this virus was going to kill 7%, and it come nowhere close to it.
It's like less than 1%.
Yeah, less than one. Yeah, and then that it's just a coupling effect. It's ratcheting up slowly, and I don't think many people are capable of talking about it from an educated perspective. Hmm. I mean, sometimes I don't even know if your shrinks are. I mean, they can diagnose it,
Yeah,
but does
they,
if you go to a shrink, I would say if he diagnoses something and then writes you a prescription for antidepressants, that you should don't never see him again. I don't.
if he writes you a prescription within the first 3 or 4 sessions, you don't want to see that one because he doesn't know what you suffer from yet. It,
He's
it takes a it takes a while to dive in to know what you suffer from.
yeah. He's kind of like lifting the hood, looking at the motor, and he says, "I know what's wrong with that." And he's like, "Here, let's put some Marvel Mystery Oil in there and give it a flush." You know.
But for anybody that is watching or gonna watch this, if you know somebody that's suffering from things that needs to talk, or you feel like they are, go have that conversation with them. Sit down and tell them, hey, I may not understand what you're going through, but I'll help you. I'll talk to you. I'll listen. Uh, you know, I lost my mother
20 years ago.
22 years ago. And it's not a day that goes by I don't live with some kind of regret. That was my fault, what I should have done, what I could have done. And that's not a way to live, because there's probably nothing I could have done. And there's so many people that live that story, from a parent, a brother, sister, husband, wife, kid. Sorry, got some very tragic news this morning. So I'm not all there, and I'm speaking from something from the heart. So let's stay away from the media's BS propaganda of what a pandemic is, and pay attention to what the real pandemic is going on, because 30 or 40 years ago it was an issue, but it's not an issue like it is today. And all the things that they do and all the chemicals they put in our food and in our prescription drugs, and tell you need to take this and put in your drinking water, all that stuff adds to and multiplies. It's the same thing. If you go back 40 or 50 years ago and think about how many kids actually had Down syndrome, or things that goes on today, that's a regular basis. Like out of 1 in 10 kids has Down syndrome or some of the other issues. That didn't happen 40 and 50 years ago. It was more like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000. Same thing with the mental illness. Back then, 40 or 50 years ago, you'd have 1 in 10,000. Now it's probably 1 in 7 or 8, maybe 1 in 10 if you're lucky. It's probably more like 1 in 5 that suffered from some type. And some people are not strong enough to overcome it, or they didn't have the support cast to help them overcome it. And the loved ones are left here wondering how.
What did they do? What did I do to cause this?
Or what could I have done different to stop it? So I guess there's my 2 cents. It's
I say just look at the ratchet up. You'll see it. It's been slowly happening for 50 years. I'd say easy. 50, 60 years, slowly, just a little bit of fluoride at first. Then it's a lot of fluoride. And then Portland's taking water samples from the end of the pipeline.
Instead of right out the station.
Instead of nearby. Yeah, you're going to the end of the pipeline.
But there's nothing to hide here.
No, nothing to hide.
And we were saying Portland because this is the town we live in.
We've seen it.
Yes, we've seen this firsthand, but it happens in every small town that allows it. And there's quite a few cities and towns in the state that doesn't allow the chemicals and the fluoride in their water. Columbia is a pretty big city that says no.
There are some good council people that can reverse things, and we've requested Portland to put the fluoride on the agenda again. It'd be nice if we could get somebody in White House who wanted to go in and speak on it. I haven't checked Kentucky to see what they do, but yes, get it out of your water. And for the argument of, well, poor people don't have good dental care, so we need to add it.
It's
Dollar
not,
Tree.
It's not the government's job to make sure my children have enough fluoride. It's not the government's job to be in your school systems, in your health care, in your money, in anything, right?
No. It's your responsibility. I was at Dollar Tree for toothbrushes, thing of toothpaste, $2.50. If you can't overcome that to get some dental, get your fluoride, stop poisoning me.
Brittany says this. She takes her kids to Fast Pace when they get sick, and the doctor there loves that she has her son in homeschool, because she told Her that the government puts chemicals in the school lunch food to give kids ADHD and other mental illness. It's just mind blowing that a doctor says this. And I absolutely believe that the government does that, because that school system is a government run school system, right? They call it public schools, but the only reason they call it public schools is because it's public funded, right? It's government ran. Anything that the government puts their hands in is not good.
I first heard this on Neil Bort's Libertarian. He said the government, and he's talking about he was reading a book, and the author of the book said the government, they want you just smart enough to take orders, but not smart enough to ask questions. You know, you and the Nazis were the same way. They did the same thing. They wanted completely stupid people and extremely smart people, scared them because the smart people wouldn't comply or ask the right questions. And the stupid people, well, if you're completely just rock solid dumb, you're not going to follow any orders anyway.
Exactly.
So they won't. That's what the government schools want to turn out. They want to turn out people right there in that little sweet spot of maybe say 90 to like 110 IQ. They don't want to go past 110. They don't want you smarter than that because you might start questioning their authority. And do you have that authority? And I mean, like I said, we haven't had any foyers on public schools. Maybe we should send some to the county and ask what's in the lunch food. That would be an interesting one. What are you
Yeah.
putting in the lunch food?
Yeah.
Sumner County Public School.
Well, here's a better thing.
Who's making it?
Can they tell us where the food's coming from? Because
Won't even tell us where the fluoride's coming from.
They can't tell us the country of origin or give us the proper MSDS for any of the chemicals they put in their water. They'll give you a generic one that they can print off, you can print off the internet, but they don't even know what country they're getting it from. They can't tell us that. So
I asked her when I was there, when we were there on the first, I asked her, can I go over to the water department and take a picture of the bag?
What'd she say?
I'm trying to run it down. Just be patient. Okay. 24 days later. You're still trying to run down a picture of the bag. Does the man at the water plant have a smartphone where he could take a picture of the bag?
Well, if you didn't have anything to hide, yeah.
What about the cost? I want to know what the cost is. How much does it cost annually?
Maybe we need to show up and say, "Hey, we're here to inspect not only the chemicals but the MSD seeds from the country of origin where those chemicals came from. Take us to it now."
They're deceitful. I want to know who's paying for it. I mean, that's what I want to know.
Well, in the government, you got the Rothschilds and.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that. I'm saying who's giving the city extra funding, and what conversation was said to say, put this in your water supply.
Well, like me and my dad had this conversation when we talked to one of the council members, and what did he say? That's the way they've always done it, and he gave us reasons why. And I've asked the mayor questions. Well, that's the way we've always done it. All right. Well, here's the scenario. The wife was cooking the ham and she cut a third of the ham off before she put it in the oven to bake. And the husband said, "Why'd you cut that third of that ham off before you baked it?" And he said, "That's the way my mother always did it." So he went back to her mother and asked her why she cuts the third of the ham off before she cooked it. She says, "Well, that's the way my mama always done it." So he went to the grandmother and asked her, "Why do you cut a third of the ham off every time you cook it?" She said, "I don't know why them dumbasses do it, but I did it because my baking pan was too small." You get it? Yeah. That's your local government. They don't look at the reasons why. They just go, the nice person done it, I'm gonna do it the same way. Let's not look for something better. Let's just do it the same old way.
But I mean, that's the whole point of sitting here. So what, you've always put Florida in the water. I can show you where in the MSDS, you can just read it for yourself. Will tell you it's a neurotoxin in heavy consumptions. It is poisonous. It will kill you. And then they say, well, we heard it was for teeth. Not when Dollar Tree is sitting right there in town, and you can get 4 toothbrushes and a tube of toothpaste for $2.50.
What I
Shut
tell
up.
you about what my granny used to do? They're going to sit there and put, they say, small amounts of a poison in your water and say it's fine. But my granny used to put drops of turpentine on a spoonful of sugar to feed to the kids to keep worms and stuff away. So you got the city sitting there side by side from the grandmother putting turpentine on the sugar.
Oh, they'd probably call that, child abuse today.
Exactly. See what I'm saying?
But they
It's
put
okay, but
fluoride.
it's okay because the government does it. But if you wanted to do it and you know it's safe because you only put 2 drops, oh, you would be poisoning your child. It'd be child abuse.
So that was what Latimer's argument was when we were talking about this. He said if you go and you try and buy the amount of fluoride that they dump in the water, or that I think he said the amount of fluoride that comes out of your tap into your bathtub, if you went and tried to buy that you would be reported for trying to buy poison because the concentrations can be that high,
Yep,
enough to
absolutely.
poison you. And it's like, okay, you're taking a bath in that.
Well, I mean, you
And
just
you're
we talked about that. I have plaque psoriasis.
we don't well that's what I'm saying. We don't know all the negative outcomes of putting
But
this stuff in.
I mean, causing skin disease and disorders is one of the things. It doesn't say plaque psoriasis, outright, but it's a skin disorder, a skin disease.
You take 1 to 2 showers a day, so you're bathing in that That's what I'm saying. I mean, I just wonder if we should bottle some of your water and send it off to a lab.
I
See what
say,
they.
I say we get 4 or 5 samples from different places around town, and
No, I know. Yeah, then send it off to a lab and see. Oh, that's funny. The concentrations are 2 and 3 times elevated here in town. We're out there in the warehouse on the other side of Macy's. Out there, way out there at the end of the line, quite low.
here's the thing: if you was being fully transparent and you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't go the furthest way away from the tap to get a sample
Oh,
to
I've
say here.
seen multiple samples from 1171 Vaughn Parkway.
Yeah, because they're going the furthest away from the tap.
No, they're going from the first point from where they dump it in. Yes,
Right. Yeah, from
so
where
higher
they put the chemicals.
concentrations flow out at Mapco where you go to buy your sodas.
I don't buy
Or
soda at Mapco.
well, okay, McDonald's higher
That's
concentrations
sweet
flowed
tea.
out of McDonald's, but we're supposed to believe that McDonald's cares enough about your health.
Oh yeah,
McDonald's cares enough about your health to put in a fluoride filter. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
they're throwing heart attacks out the window, but no, they're not. No, they're not. No, let me rephrase that. No, they're not because McDonald's does not hand your food out the window. They pull you up to a spot and they walk it out to you after you wait for 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, I mean,
So
whatever.
so they're walking your heart attacks out in bags left
It's
and
a
right.
brown bag McHeart attack.
But they care enough about you, they're going to put a fluoride tap in. Yeah.
And the mayor, when we seen him on the first, and we talked to him about, a little bit of this, and he said, "Well, I said, "Well, I got a well." Oh, you don't? No, I don't want city water. Oh, you ain't bringing it on the property. That's all I can tell you. Oh, but when I'm talking, got Dunkin' Donuts. I love Dunkin' Donuts. I love their iced coffee and their cold brew. You know, Sometimes I pull in there and I forget about it and I don't think about it. But does Dunkin' Donuts care enough to buy an actual fluoride filter? They're very expensive. You know,
Well, if they did, the coffee would be even more expensive. What are you talking about?
um, um, Red's conversation. He said he stopped at a uh, truck stop in New Mexico on 40 a long time ago. I think it was over on west side of New Mexico where they have a high concentration of fluoride just naturally in the water. And there is natural fluoride that just gets into your water.
Yep.
And he was noticing that the people out there had a lot of teeth problems. And he said he said the reason they got on the thing is he'd been in that area quite a bit when he was running team with his woman. And he said he got the tea and it tasted like shit. That's what he said. It just tasted like absolute shit. And he's like, why is this tea? He's like, well, we got high concentrations of fluoride. And then he started talking to the lady about it, and the lady said, she said, actually, too much fluoride will make your teeth brittle and break. You know, so there is a fine line about fluoride.
What's what I'm saying? Most of your water already has the natural fluoride in it. Why do you have to go adding to it?
Some areas less than others, and some areas more.
Yeah.
You know, but if you want fluoride on your teeth, and that's what you want to do, buy the toothpaste. Buy the toothpaste and read the label. And the label says don't swallow. So spit that out. Doesn't say to take it in. And if you've ever wondered if you want to question me, go into Walmart and pick up the children's toothpaste where it's edible. It won't have fluoride. Why is that? Because they know fluoride's a poison. They know fluoride's a poison, and the city council in Portland, well, I was hoping Monday night they would be there, but nope. No.
Gotta wait till August.
Gotta wait till August now.
Maybe by then I'll have all my files from April, and you'll have all yours from May.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, you moved 9 of my requests off. My latest request, where I'm accusing the city of fraud, waste, and abuse. I have officially accused them of it. You said that's going to be delayed because I have too many open FOIA requests. I'm going to tell you what, if you're not going to look into 9 of them, I don't have too many FOIA requests. I have about 4 or 5.
Well, even if you did have too many open, why are they open? Because they're not doing their job.
You're not closing them. You're not closing them in a timely manner. And the city has spent, too much money, just way too much money on the ability to close FOIA requests, but they're not utilizing it.
Well, not only that, digitize them. How much was that?
That was the request. I asked how much that machine cost.
No, how much is she going to charge you for the paper files?
$157.70 for 185 pages. So it's like 85 cents a page.
85 cents a page.
85 cents a page is your
government. And you probably didn't want but a third of those pages that they printed off.
No.
So really 60 and 150. Because really, it's about $2.50 a page.
It's the death by 1,000 paper cuts. Is what they're trying to do. It's like, well, we'll just send him make sure he pays for everything, even though he doesn't want it. But hey, at least I can go in and inspect it, and they're not allowed to charge me a dime. That's the only way. I'm looking for her email.
Well, I'm going to go in tomorrow or Tuesday and inspect some of the files that they have ready for me. Probably Tuesday.
I asked for that city employee's file, Brandon Roberts. He gets a paycheck. He's supposed to have a part-time assistant helping him. And I want to know how much, for those people in Portland, how much did that scanner cost? That's the digital scanner that they have in the Portland City Hall.
That over a year ago, the mayor said when I done the audit of City Hall that they were going to digitize all their records. But when we request them, they try to tell us they're not digitized, which is fine. We'll go inspect them.
That's the 85.2 cent per page.
But when someone requests a file and you have that big machine to digitize the record, there is your opportunity to go ahead and digitize that record. Yeah. But they won't do that.
For reference, there's your video with the mayor. See that big old digital machine right there that you could probably dump 185 pages in, and then boom, 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 done. And then you could just email it to me instead of trying to stonewall. This is what we're dealing with in this little town, and it's probably happening in your little town. So we could get 1 or 2 people in little towns around the world.
Westmoreland, White House, Greenbrier, Gallatin, Franklin.
Bug the shit out of them. But, send FOIA requests. See what they tell you. Ask what additives are in your water. Simple. Don't take that long. See if they tell you.
The country of origin and the MSDS from the country.
And then ask them, if the city person says, well, I have a well, okay, well, maybe you should be adding the same concentrations to your water. And if they say no, say, well, then why do you think it's good to add it for mine if you're on public water? But I mean, this is what I'm saying, that, I've got too many open requests. You've basically said all the aldermans and the mayor don't have a file, which is you moving 8 requests right off the board right there. So if your official story is these don't count, these files don't exist. So the mayor, hey, look, hey, maybe you should be mayor. You can run around pinching secretaries' asses, and there ain't no place to put the complaint.
Well, you ain't got a file, so you ain't got nowhere to put it.
Yeah, maybe that's the place to go. Maybe that's why there's such an orgy going on.
So I guess if he was caught having an affair with the CEO of the chamber in the mayor office, and there was an investigation, there's no file to put it. So it just, I guess they burned it. Put it shredded.
File 13, that little circular one on the floor, they just throw it in there. But that's the whole point. If you've moved 8 of my requests for alderman files off the table, well, then I don't have too many, because that was her response, was I have too many requests open.
Well, today's what, the 24th?
24th, yeah.
All right, so April
on the
22nd. May, June, July. I still have records that I requested on April 28th. Today is July 24th. And I was told in June,
fast,
the end of May, that by July 20th I would have them all. So today's July 24th, and I'm still waiting on records from April 28th.
Oh yeah, that's right. They put that in writing, didn't they?
Yeah, sure did.
Where's your records? They ain't got them to you yet?
Nope. She's got some for me to inspect ready, but not all the ones from April 28th.
See, that is so funny though, how she just on the 22nd she just put it out there. Please see attached. She doesn't want to talk to me no more because I've accused them of fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm sure they want the city attorney to talk to me, but he's about a dumb shit. I think I could outsmart him.
Well, he got in the middle of something he had no freaking clue.
No, he should have never got. He should have said, "Why don't you do your job?"
Because
John Bradley say that when you're being pulled in by city officials and they're saying, "Hey, send some emails to this person to back him off." How about you say, "How about no, you do your job." You follow the TPR.
When we went up there on July 1st, I asked her, I said, "Where's Miss Weekly's file? What's not ready?" I said, "Per your city attorney, June 28th, her file was going to be ready for me to inspect. And today's July 1st.
Most of my files, per the city attorney, was supposed to be there by June 28th, same as you.
She said, "Well, he don't know what he's talking about. They got wait in line behind the rest of them." I said, "Well, why does he get involved for?" That's what I told him. He has no clue what he's talking about. Go back to Hendersonville. Oh, they don't want you either.
No, they don't want me. They hate me. I don't care.
No, I'm talking about the part-time attorney.
Oh, yeah. It is not practicable for the records you requested to be made promptly available for inspection and or copying because the office is still processing or retrieving. Or retrieving and or redacting the requested records. Your request has been submitted to the appropriate department to be processed. That was their response to my 713, which is, how much does this machine cost? That was the first thing. I want to know how much that costs. I want to know how much the square footage is of the building that machine sits in. Because then it's just a simple mathematical equation.
I guarantee that machine was at least $150,000, $200,000 machine.
I'm curious. I'm very curious how much the taxpayer got to pay on that machine.
That they're not using to digitize the records.
Yes, if 5% of that building houses that machine and the internet guy, and that building costs $800,000, well, that's kind of an easy equation, isn't it?
Yep.
That's $400,000 worth of space if it's an $8 million building. So you got $400,000 in space that's being housed along with a machine, and God knows how much that costs. The delivery, the setup, everything, getting it running.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
it could be a $500,000 if you want to add all in the delivery setup and the software and all that. I was
And
just
then
talking
we,
about the machine.
yeah, I know. I'm just talking about the machine and everything around it. What is an actual cost? Because we've asked for records digital, and your response is "fuck off." That's pretty much the response from the city. You know, we'll give you copies, and we're going to charge you 85 cents a page for them. Or you can come in and take pictures with your phone. It's just whatever they can do to inconvenience the public because they don't want to give out the record. Just like they don't. Still,
They, and
fluoride.
when you get the files you request, you don't even get what you request anyway. Let me explain this to you. This sums up the corruption in a nutshell. I requested the chief's file. He's been an officer for 20 years, right? So his file would include any accommodations, write-ups, uh, suspensions, investigations, training, post training, which is peace officer standard training, any of that, right? That would all be in his file. They gave me two pieces of paper. Two pieces of paper. One was a recommendation from the old police chief, and the second was a recommendation from the mayor. That was the two things in a file for a police officer who is now chief of 20 years. No training. So if that's the case, we need to go up there and tell him, please, sir, hand over your service weapon, hand over your bullets, hand over your badge, hand over your taser, because you've had no training. You're not registered to carry that weapon, right? But they have nothing to hide. They're not trying to hide anything from the public. It's just comical.
No,
And then when I asked her, I said, what about his post training? What do you mean? Peace officer standard training. You know, every officer should have that in their file. Well, I don't know. This is all they gave me. Well, go back and tell them they're dumbasses, and I want the file.
yeah. So your chief, who's been on force much longer than the officer I requested. What was mine? 185 pages.
185 pages, and he's been an officer for.
Well, no, a police officer was an officer for what, 5, 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, but he's only been an officer for the county for what, 5 years, 6 years?
Something like that. Well, I mean, look, it's not. No, my point is, Portland has 185 pages to show me for that police officer. But somebody who's had a tenure of 3 to 4 times his tenure in Portland has 2 pages.
2 pages.
2 pages.
Nothing to see here, fellers. Nothing to see.
Yeah, just look away. We're not hiding. Yeah, you definitely are hiding a lot.
If you're a mother or father of small children at one time, you know what I'm talking about. You know when you got the cookies or the candy, the good stuff, and you don't want them to know, and they're like, Dad, what you got? Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. There's not cookies in my pocket.
Oh yeah, no, there's cookies in your pocket.
All right. Well, we've run over an hour. I guess we can.
Yeah, we've run quite a bit. I was trying to look for. Oh, there it is. There's your picture there. You know, the chief back there in the back. You know,
Yeah,
with all his buddies.
Yeah, I think that's they kind of like 14 or 15 cars. Mm-hmm. They got 6 officers.
But he shouldn't take them out to breakfast, man. He shouldn't even be driving the car. Is his license on file? Has he?
No.
Did you get his driver's?
No.
You didn't get a redacted copy of his driver's license?
Nope.
How do we know he's eligible to drive a car?
Well, apparently he's not.
I'm sure if you called my company and asked them for a redacted copy of my driver's license, they're going to show it to you. They're required to.
Yep. All right. We're going to get out of here, but before I go,
ask questions.
Get more involved. Care about something. Stand on principle. Are you muted? You're muted.
Okay. Oops.
My bad.
Are you
Yes,
done?
Yeah.
All right. Before I go, if you're suffering from anything, you need to talk to somebody. Find somebody to talk to. If the first or second person you come to is not the right person, keep going until you find somebody to talk to. Somebody that'll help you. Somebody will listen to you. And if you're not one of those people and you know someone, reach out and help them. Spread love, understanding, empathy, and respect.
And
That's
remember,
all I
what
got.
the system doesn't want is people united. They want us divided, so they can keep putting poisons in everything.
So I love everybody. Yes, even all of you that think I'm an asshole. I'm not the asshole you think I am. I still love you. Look at the guy next to me, Puddin, that I deal with every day. If I love him, I love everybody.
Me? Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Michelle's over here. She's like throwing her hand up. So we'll see y'all next week.